Hello everybody, Paul coming at you from Circular Motion. Thank you for checking in my second video for the vinyl community, and thank you to everybody that took the time to watch the first video of the vinyl tag and that left beautiful comments. Really touched, overwhelmed at the response that I got, because I really wasn't expecting any, so that is great. Thank you, I really mean that. And welcome to video number 2. And so without further ado, we shall crack on. Okay, so today I want to give you a bit of a review, really, my thoughts on the Queen Studio Collection box set. Now, a couple of you did point out that my vinyl tag was a little biased towards Queen. Not biased, but they did seem to feature quite a lot, and I promise that going forward that won't be as big a thing. It's just the way the cookie crumbled at the time, and this happens to be, you know, one of my first big purchases of 2021. But here it is, and we're going to have a look at it now and see just what you get, and is it worth it. So I can't bother to go through and take all the records out and show you a picture of the disc, so I'm going to put a screenshot in and then you can have a look at that, and then we'll get down to it. As you can see, all the albums are represented, all the studio albums from Queen 1 right the way through to Made in Heaven. All the album artwork is faithfully reproduced, gatefold where applicable, and there are a couple of posters included with Made in Heaven. The Naked Bicycle Race poster is included with the Jazz, just like the reissue, and you know, they are nice looking things. Okay, so this box set, back in 2015 I think it was, Queen and or Virgin Records decided that they would dig out all the master tapes and redo them, get them all spruced up and release them as a limited edition box set at the time. And to do this they got the legendary Bob Ludwig, who I'm sure more than most of you are familiar with, to come in and do the actual mastering. And one of the problems they found was that due to various issues the tape wasn't in the best condition, so they took the best bits that they could from the tape and they did the CD reissues, the deluxe versions, back in the, was it 2011? Anyway, they took all the best bits that they could and they threw it all together, and they came up with you know, what constituted the masters for these discs. And apparently there was quite an extensive quality control process in terms of the sound, and they were, once everybody was happy with the tapes, they were taken to Abbey Road where they were half speed mastered. Apparently even at that point they had people employed just to sit and listen to the half speed tapes backwards and forwards, listening for any anomalies, any glitches. And apparently according to Bob Ludwig, in a statement that he made on Michael Fremer's Analog Planet, he said that the biggest, probably the most intense critics were what was left of Queen at the time themselves, and I'm assuming that would only be Roger and Brian, because I don't think John has much to do with anything these days. But and apparently they were really happy with the way that things turned out. So that was 2015, they released the box set and it sold out really quickly apparently, and everybody was going out buying what they thought was a limited edition box set, and it sold out, did that well that Virgin Records decided to sell it again. And then that sold out, and so here we are, they've reissued it again. I'm not sure if this was a 2019 reissue, and there are still quite a lot of copies kicking about, but I was sat looking on Savvy, saw this, 369 quid, and I saw that you could buy it because it's a little rich for my blood, but I thought they do it as they do have payment options on it, so I signed up. Paid 150 up front, and I've already paid another payment of 50 quid already, and that was just in 2 weeks. And here we are. So I've got this beautiful box set. So let's have a look. In terms of presentation, it's all right. You know, for 370 quid, the box is cardboard, gold covered. It's got the nice logo on the front, and it says, you know, Queen Studio Collection. It's got the Queen crest down there. Open it up, you've got all the studio albums from Queen 1 right the way back to Made in Heaven, which was obviously the posthumous album. that was released after Freddie's death. Now, this is probably one of the best items in there. It's a book. Let me just put this down a second. I'll get the book out. And this just goes through it album by album. It's got some nice pictures. I don't know if you can see that there. A little bit about each album, a couple of quotes. There's some nice shots. I mean that's in colour there. I haven't seen that shot before. I've just seen the black and white version on the jazz in the sleeve. I haven't seen this one. You know, there's quite a few nice photos that if you're a fan of Queen, you've probably seen most of everything that there is to see. But you know, there were a couple of things in there that I hadn't seen before, so that was quite a nice thing. Then you've got the albums themselves, and each album, as you could have seen in the screenshot that I showed you, is a coloured vinyl. From what I can gather, they're releasing different coloured vinyls to reflect sort of the colours used in the album artwork, and they are also as close as they could get them to various international releases, because quite a lot of albums were released on different coloured vinyl upon original release, but not in England. So, what's it like? Sound-wise, I'm not massively impressed, I'll be honest. I've got my original Queen one. I sold a lot of them when I fell out of love with vinyl. I've got my original Queen 1, I did have Queen 2, but I gave it away just recently because I got a reissue version, which is quite a decent sounding one. It's alright. I've got my original Sheer Heart Attack and my original Date the Races, News of the World and Hot Space, as you saw in the vinyl tag. And how do these compare? Queen 1 is really good. I think these albums, from what I can gather, they're supposed to represent sort of the pinnacle sound. This is exactly, this is the best sounding release, according to, Bob Ludwig, that you're ever going to find of these albums. And I would query that. Queen 1 sounds decent, sounds really nice. Queen 2, it doesn't sound any better than the reissue. In fact, it doesn't sound as good as I remember it sounding on the original version. Sheer Heart Attack sounds nice, but again, it's not that massive from the reissue you can buy anyway, which I think were taken from the CD remasters. The only albums that really stand out for me that there is a discernible difference is News of the World. That, I don't know what it is, that album, it's just, it is on the next level for some reason. Whether that's anything to do, with what they did for the 40th anniversary sort of release, reissue, or I'm not sure, but it does sound really nice. Tracks like All Dead and It's Late, and Who Needs You, they really jump out, really nice. Hot Space sounds really good, but it sounds really good on the reissue, and the original sounds really good. News of the World, I've done that one. Night at the Opera sounds good, it sounds decent, but it doesn't sound phenomenal. It doesn't sound any better than anything you can buy in HMV right now. Same with Date the Races, and that reissue does sound really nice, from my own personal opinion. I'm not an audiophile, I don't profess to be, but I do think that that album does sound really good. I always thought that the 80s albums, everything after Hot Space up until Innuendo, really sounded a bit flat. Just over, I think everything was going on the CD and everything was sort of done digitally, and I just think there's too much compression. It's not as big a sound. That's why I said in the vinyl tag that Hot Space sounded so phenomenal. The works really isn't impressive at all. It's just the same as it always was. It's not brought anything new to the table. So I wonder, I would sort of ask, what have they done? The same with A Kind of Magic. It's just not impressive. It sounds nice, but it's not like, wow, I must listen to this album for the rest of my life. The only albums that actually I've never heard on vinyl before and were quite interesting were Innuendo, which does sound really nice, although
listening to Show Must Go On again, you know, I remember I said in the vinyl tag that the CD version, the CD single version of that song sounded like the best. It still does sound the best, but that album overall, I mean, Days of Our Lives, I've never heard it sound so good as it does on that album. The quiet parts are really quiet and everything is just so precise. It is, and Freddie's voice throughout that whole album is just hauntingly good. It's the strongest thing on that album. It just cuts through everything. It is a joy to listen to. And strangely, my least favourite album, Made in Heaven, also sounds pretty decent. It's not an album I'm particularly fond of. It just doesn't, although Freddie's singing, it just doesn't sound like a Queen album to me. I think the only track that I really, really like is A Winter's Tale. Nothing else really, you know, I don't know. But it's all personal opinion, isn't it? But yeah, overall, I found it a bit underwhelming, if I'm honest. For 370 quid, I found it incredibly underwhelming, I'll be honest. And then there's this issue. So I am gonna just pause this a second because I don't know how to edit, so I'll stop this and then I'll drop in some clips and then we'll come back and we'll talk about those clips.